Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to GracePointe. We're so glad you're here with us today. It's going to be a really cool day. We had a great service at 9 a.m., so it's going to be really cool. We've got Jennifer Knapp and Liz Dyer. Yes, so many cool people. But we just want you to know that you are safe here. Every person in here is loved and affirmed and celebrated. We provide space for that. So thank you for being with us today. We've got some music for you from the one and the only Miss Jennifer Knapp. Can we make her welcome? Yeah! Thank you.
There's actually more than one Jennifer Knapp. In Nashville, actually, there's a Jennifer Lynn Knapp who I'm sure, because she owns property, has people driving by her house because psychos have looked it up. She doesn't know who I am because she hasn't called me yet to say that I've ruined her life. That's a weird intro. Good morning. Turn your eyes from all this way. I have proved to live a dastardly day. I hid my face from the saints and the angels who sing of your glory. What you had in mind, the sin that lives in me. It took a nail to set me free still. What I do, I don't wanna do, and so goes the story. What you had in mind, shine, show me grace, a little more than having a little bit of a moment, mostly because I played the stage like, I want to say as a rock star. I'm not a rock star. I've never been one. But like I played this stage in that capacity, and then somebody over here cheered. Then I'll flash back to my youth. You're laughing because you know I'm old. I had a flashback to my early days in church when I was new to church. I just broke a nail. That's a pity. I had a flashback to my early days in church because I didn't know the culture a little bit, and I would play a song like that, and I would get done. It was like kind of an American Baptist church I was going to in my local hometown, and they would get done, and I would get done with that song, and a hush would fall over the sanctuary because they were horrified at all the noise that I had just made. And those little rock and roll moments that I build into my song, which I did this morning, I went, oh, it's a, and I did this morning. Yeah. But the admonishment I got in a sanctuary for doing that kind of shit, of one, not being like submissive, demure, feminine, signs that I might have been gay, things like that were like kind of in, and as I did that this morning, I was thinking also like, that's about the only time you're gonna get me to raise a hand in a worshipful way, is like, I've gotta like butch and rock and roll it out to kind of feel comfortable enough, which is like, this is the way that I give my energy. This is the way that I get excited. Of course, when I'm excited or ever quote unquote worshipful, it will be like, yeah, that's cool. I'm usually actually really low key until I strap on. Anyway, I just said that. The only way that makes me okay is because I'm comfortable with the bar in the back, and had this been in a church, it's just I'm appreciating the weird context of what we're in a little bit too much. And that's all to say is that the irony of all of that is the swirl of that personal memory inside of those days that I was really challenged to figure out what space I would have early on, not understanding faith culture at all. And the joy I strangely have today of seeing it all mashed up in this room and breaking the standards that I thought I was doing alone for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of you felt like you might have been doing alone for a long time. I'm just really excited, as painful as it might have been, or it is, whenever we're transitioning into something new against the old, that it's also exciting for us to do something in a different way that gives us a reinvigoration to be able to go, yeah, hell yeah, right. You know, so thank you. I have a germane song to that point to play in tune. I have always, as a writer, and I think been curious even in my own faith, for two things. One goal of mine as somebody who's written songs for a long time, that I learned along the way, is that if I was going to entertain and write in and around my faith at all, I really wanted to I hate cliches. I was always incredibly comfortable saying, I'm here for the Lord, or yay, Jesus, or any of that. I can't still today. So I've sought, the cool part of that is I've sought for new metaphors, and I think as a creative person, and even to what I was just saying, that we can't give up or be afraid to kind of kick sacred cows over, to give up on our imagination and finding new metaphors to talk about what we mean by liberation, by what we mean by grace, to stop, like, if we keep using the same one over again, if we always just talk about the cross and Jesus on the cross, for example, people start rolling their eyes and start walking around you on the street corner. But to say something in its fullness and to give it a new metaphor shows, I hope, shows that we have a capacity to see all the avenues and aspects of what a gift, what gift we are seeing, and to find any way possible to be able to communicate that. And I don't want to say that I'm operating in the world with an ulterior motive, but I guess I am, because I am Gracie Lou Freebush. I just want world peace. I think love goes a long way, and Liz will speak that today. I think the gospel is really simple in that sense. What is good news? And what is the easiest way I can say it to you, and the quickest way in this fast world that I can make it comprehensible? So I wrote this incredibly esoteric song that no one will know what that is, but it's my search for a new metaphor to express something that I think people have heard for a long time and don't know. And so when this song is meaningful to somebody else, they'll know where I got it. They may not know where I got it, but they know how I live it. And I think that's somewhere our ulterior motive today, no matter where we go, even Liz and I, and many of you will go, I don't care where I got it. It's yours, though. You can have it. Take it with you. There's a seed for every season that will meet the back that bends. A hunger that only harvest mends. And so you take the plow, tear into the earth, tend and toil the redolent soil, don't care how much it hurts. You take the fight every time, you know, but love that's strong from a rose grown in your own garden. A river flows for the perfect pardon. If you barely scratch the surface, then you don't know a thing. You don't know the tenderness it brings until you take the blow firmly on the chin. Adrenaline flows and finally you know this is where your life began. You take the fight for every time, you know, blood that's strong from a rose grown in your own garden. River flows for the perfect pardon. I have a rock and roll band playing in my head right now with the coolest solo you've ever heard. Some will pray for safety, others shelter from the rain, but they don't know the joy that it can bring. And I won't hide away, no, 'cause nothing grows without the water from the storm, you know, blood that's strong from a rose grown in your own garden. The river flows for the perfect pardon. Blood that's strong from a rose grown in your own garden. The river flows for the perfect pardon. Perfect pardon.
Yes, yes, yes. Jennifer, thank you. Can we thank her one more time? Yeah! Wow, what a gift to our community, to us this morning. Thanks so much. What we want to do is we want to give you an opportunity to have a conversation with your neighbor. This is what we call a meet and greet. Maybe introduce yourself to somebody new. I think we got a lot of new faces and a lot of mama bears in the building, right? Yeah. So take a couple minutes. We'll be back in a few.
Good morning. Thanks. Morning. I know. Oh, this is very hard. Okay, bring it back. Bring it back. Oh, okay. Morning. My name is Emily Wire. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Director of Operations and Communications here at GracePointe. Welcome. First, I just want to give a big shout out to our online community. Can we give them a hand? So we have a lot going on here at GracePointe, and I know that some of you may or may not be familiar with what we do here. So if you take out your phone and you scan the QR code that's on your tables, on the screen, on your chairs, that will tell you everything that's going on. And we have stuff going on for in-person and online community. So wherever you are, we have something for you. The weekly announcements button is probably going to be your best resource because that will give you a synopsis of everything that's happening right now in list form, and who doesn't love a good list? I just want to highlight one thing, and that is our March 26th community social. It's from 4 to 6 p.m., the last Sunday of the month. It's at King's Bowl, which is in Cool Springs. You can bowl for $10 a person, and that covers 2 hours of unlimited bowling and shoes, which is a pretty good deal. If you do want to join but you don't want to bowl, just come hang out. They have food, drinks, and you can just bring friends or family and get to know us. And finally, we're so grateful to those of you who financially support GracePointe. We're ultimately trying to create a safe and affirming space here, but we're also trying to reimagine what church looks like through a progressive Christian lens. So we have a lot of really exciting things happening on the horizon for this year. If you want to contribute to the future of our community, you can text any dollar amount to 84321. You can go to gracepointe.net/give. You can scan the QR code and tap the give button, or you can also Venmo us at GracePointeTN, and just remember that GracePointe has an E on the end of it. And that's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Em. Hey, everybody. I'm Josh. I'm the lead pastor here. We're thrilled you're here. You sprang forward. I wish somebody would remind the leadership of Tennessee that we're not going backward, we're going forward this weekend. So a couple things. First of all, Jennifer Knapp. Am I right? Wow. I'm going to introduce our friend Liz Dyer in just a minute, but we also have other friends in the room. Sara Cunningham from Free Mom Hugs is right there. Good to see you. A couple things real quick. One, next week we will go back to our normal schedule, which is one gathering at 10:30. On Easter, which is April 9th, we'll also do what we did this weekend. We'll have two, one at 9, one at 10:30. So know that you have options on Easter. Next week we'll be back at just one gathering at 10:30. And then we have a social coming up that Em just mentioned, but we also have an opportunity for the online community on the Sunday before, March 19th. We're going to do a happy hour together, I think 6 p.m. Central. So online community, we would love for you to make plans to join us. It's going to be really informal. We'll just all Zoom and hang out, and it'll be a really, really good time of getting to know each other better and just fun for the sake of fun. So thrilled to have our friend Liz Dyer here today. I'll give her a proper introduction, and then you can go absolutely wild for her. Does that sound good? I'm not taking it personal that I never get that reaction when I come up either, Liz. It's not personal at all. It's fine. In 2014, Liz Dyer had a dream that she could start a private Facebook group for moms of LGBTQ+ kids, and those moms would end up helping to make the world a safer, kinder, more loving place for all LGBTQ+ people. The Mama Bears are a network of groups, websites, special projects, and resources dedicated to supporting, educating, and empowering parents of LGBTQ+ kids and the LGBTQ+ community. And also, I'll just say, it's so wonderful to have our friend Liz here today. Will you welcome her as she comes?
Good morning. Thank you, Josh. No matter how many times I do it, I always am thrilled to get together with people of faith who wholeheartedly affirm and celebrate and include LGBTQ plus people. I work with so many people who have left the church. Some have left the faith completely because of the way LGBTQ people have been excluded, oppressed, made to feel like they didn't have a place at God's table. And so, GracePointe, your community means so much to me, and I'm so grateful for you. Families like mine feel hopeful about the future because of the way you're living out your faith. When I think of GracePointe, I think of a verse in Galatians that says the only thing that matters is living out your faith through love, expressing your faith through love. And I see you guys doing that. And I know it isn't always easy to take some of the inclusive positions that you've taken. Sometimes it's scary. I know it's cost you a lot at times, relationships and support. And so to see you never waver in that, you don't hesitate to be loud and transparent about your position. The way you talk about including everyone and making it clear about the way you affirm and celebrate LGBTQ people is just very meaningful. And it just really gives me so much hope. So thank you very much. I wanted to say that before I said anything else this morning. Excuse me. Like Josh said, I had a dream in 2014 that I could get moms like me together who had children who were LGBTQ and offer them support and meaningful connections and resources, and also inspire them to work together and change the world and make it a kinder, safer, more loving place for all LGBTQ people to live and thrive. By that time, my son had been out 7-8 years, and I was beginning to realize that he didn't have the same rights and protections as I had, that my other straight son had. And I was concerned about those things. I knew I couldn't do much by myself, but I thought that together, a bunch of moms might be able to do something. And I'm excited to say that my dream came true. I started that one group in 2014 with about 150 moms. And today we have more than 36,000 moms of LGBTQ kids in that one group. And then, to my surprise, that one group evolved into a whole organization. Today we have 8 more groups that we support and manage. We have more than 60 local Mama Bear chapters spread across the United States, with a couple in, I think maybe 4 or 5 now in Canada, 1 in the UK, and 1 in Australia. And maybe something I'm most proud of is that we have developed 8 programs that serve the LGBTQ community directly. And these programs mostly have volunteers who are members of my private Facebook group, so they're Mama Bears, and these Mama Bears volunteer to do things like they go and stand in at a wedding if someone doesn't have a supportive family member or parent there to celebrate their love and their special day. They make hospital visits because many times LGBTQ people find themselves in the hospital going through a surgery or a procedure or an illness alone without any family or friends there to be with them. They have LGBTQ plus people in their homes during the holidays because that's a time when a lot of people in the community find themselves alone. Maybe their families have rejected them. It's not uncommon for an LGBTQ person to be accepted in their family until they have a significant other. And now they would have to choose to come home by themselves for the holidays because their significant other that relationship wouldn't be accepted. Or sometimes they just don't feel safe going home. They just don't feel like it's a place where they can really relax and be themselves. And so maybe they don't want to go there for an extended time. So mama bears have them come and join their family celebrations. They do things like make blankets and put together care packages and send those out. Most of what the mama bears do for the LGBTQ community is what I would call small acts of kindness. They're little things. And sometimes even when we're doing them as mama bears, we don't really feel like we're doing much. We feel like, oh, we wish we could do more. But we know from studies that if an LGBTQ person has even one supportive adult in their life, one person who is affirming and supportive, that it can change their life. It might even save their life. I often hear from LGBTQ people telling me about some mama bear who saved their life, who made them want to wake up in the morning, who made it able for them to get out and live their life. So I'm really proud of what the mama bears are doing. But listen, I wasn't there when my son came out. I wasn't affirming when my son came out. I come from a very conservative Christian background. When my son came out, I was leading women's ministry in a Southern Baptist church. I wrote Bible studies and taught those mostly to Christian women. I spoke at a lot of Christian women events. My husband was very involved in the church, very involved in some ministries. Both of our sons were in youth ministry, youth choir. They went on youth mission trips. The church was the center of our lives. We went to church 3, 4, 5 times a week. It's where we made our friends. It's where, we did all of our good works and service. It's where a lot of our social activity evolved from. So when our son came out, it rocked our world. It scared us. We were afraid. We didn't know what to do. We knew what our church taught us, but we didn't really know how should we be responding. I mean, we loved our son. We knew our son. Things didn't quite fit together. It seemed like things weren't adding up. There were some puzzle pieces missing. And so as a woman of faith, one of the first things I wanted to do is go to the Bible and see what it had to say. I knew there were verses that were traditionally used to condemn same-gender relationships. I had never really studied them closely, but I knew what our church, our faith community believed and taught about it. And I wanted to find out for myself exactly what they said. I wanted to look at the language and the historical context and make sure I understood why I believed what I believed. It really didn't take me long to figure out that these verses that had been traditionally used to condemn same-gender relationships didn't fit our situation. You see, my son just wanted to meet someone, date, hopefully find someone that he could build a relationship with and fall in love, with the hope that someday he would get married and have a family. Just like most people, except he wanted to do it with someone of the same gender. And there was nothing in the Bible about this, nothing to support it, but also nothing to condemn it. The verses that were being traditionally used were speaking about things that did not apply to my son's life. Prostitution or pagan rituals. Or maybe it was something in the Old Testament where you would also find that you couldn't eat shrimp or wear a blouse with 2 different fibers, So they weren't fitting. And my son had spent time looking at all of this. And I didn't want to insult him by not having, good knowledge and credible responses. So I knew I couldn't use these Bible verses. But that didn't surprise me because I know the Bible doesn't speak to every situation. It doesn't answer every question. Sometimes we just have to take our, Christian principles and tenets and apply those to real life. But to be able to figure out how to do that, I felt like the only thing I could do is I needed to meet more LGBTQ people. I felt I really needed to talk to LGBTQ Christians. I was aware that there were two sides. Some LGBTQ Christians were embracing what I would call non-affirming theology. And they were either trying to change and be heterosexual. And I want to say, I really wasn't thinking about transgender people back in 2006, 2007. It wasn't on my radar at the time. It wasn't even really being talked a lot about at the time. So I was mostly thinking about same-gender relationships and what my response to that should be. And so I thought, I need to meet these people that are embracing non-affirming theology and see how that's working out for them in real life, and also meet some LGBTQ Christians who are embracing affirming theology and see how that's working out. Now, I admit I had assumptions. I was really looking for evidence to support my belief so I could help my son. I wanted to understand why I believed what I did, and I knew everything didn't fit, but I thought it was going to all come together and support my position. That is really what I assumed I would find. I thought I would find that LGBTQ Christians that were embracing non-affirming theology would be, I don't know, a little less well off in life. Like maybe they had more chaos, or they weren't as at peace in their heart, or they were just having more problems. Because as a woman of faith, I always believed if I live into God's ways, I'll be more healthy and whole. I didn't think it would solve all problems. I knew it wouldn't. But I certainly didn't think it would make me worse, make me less unhealthy, less whole, less at peace. And I assumed that LGBTQ Christians who were embracing affirming theology were going to have less peace. They were going to be less healthy and whole. Well, if you're here this morning, I'm sure you can guess that what I found was in conflict with my assumptions. I found the exact opposite. Now, when you believe something your whole life, you don't just change your mind at the snap of a finger. So, I don't want to say right away I changed my mind. No, it was a process. And but as I heard these stories, and I began to get to know these people, I couldn't deny it. My theology, my non-affirming theology was wrong. It was not of God. I said I had gone to the scripture and couldn't find an answer. But this discovery led me back to the Bible, and it reminded me of something that Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 7. I don't know if you've read the Sermon on the Mount recently, but it's pretty amazing. I mean, Jesus covers a lot of subjects in the Sermon on the Mount. He talked about money and prayer and justice, caring for the needy, handling the religious law, worry, judging other people, murder, lust, anger. I'm speculating, but I'm thinking before he went and sat down on that mountainside that he had been saving up a lot of things that he wanted to tell people. He knew his time was short, and I think he really did want to help people know what it meant to follow God and to live into God's ways. But I also think he knew he couldn't cover everything. And so, again, I'm speculating, but I'm thinking he knew he couldn't cover everything. So he, at the end of this Sermon on the Mount, near the end of it, he says something that I think is kind of like a formula that can help us have better discernment when it comes to good theology, when it comes to knowing God's way, when it comes to, making decisions about what it means to follow Jesus and to live the way Jesus would live. And this is what he said. He said, do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them. There were a lot of prophets walking around and teaching a lot of different things. Some were even teaching in contrast to what Jesus was teaching. Some were saying what he's teaching is wrong. And so Jesus went up on this mountainside and he taught a lot of things. But in the end, he said, you can really figure it out yourself. Because if it's of God, it's going to produce some good fruit. And if it's not of God, it's going to produce bad fruit. When I heard these stories and I began to get to know these LGBTQ people and hear how the theology that they were trying to live into was responding in their life, the way it was producing fruit in their life, the results they were seeing, it became evident to me. My theology was producing bad fruit in the life of LGBTQ people. So I had no choice. I had to, as a woman of faith, as someone who wants to follow Jesus, I had to change my mind. I had to change my belief, my perspective, my position. I like what Dr. John J. McNeil says. He's a theologian and a psychotherapist. And he says this: a traditional religious belief is that grace builds on nature. In other words, religious life depends on a good foundation in human health. Therefore, we can legitimately evaluate the validity of a religious belief system by its psychological consequences. Good theology will result in good psychology. Accordingly, bad theology will have negative psychological consequences. This is nothing more than an application of the biblical norm. You will be able to tell them by their fruits. If Saint Irenaeus proclaimed, the glory of God is humans fully alive, then clearly a belief system that results in the destruction of human health cannot serve the glory of God. Non-affirming theology does not serve the glory of God. Amen. If our theology is consistently producing depression, anxiety, self-loathing, isolation, self-harm, suicidal ideation, we must have something wrong, and we have to rethink it. We have to re-examine it, because good theology should produce good fruit. We can twist scripture or make it say more than it does to fit with our own perspective. Any of us can do that. But the fruit doesn't lie. We can cherry pick and just choose verses that support our view. But the fruit doesn't lie. We can ignore original language and historical context, but the fruit doesn't lie. We can find a pastor, a leader, a community, a church, a verse, a book to back us up, to lay a firm foundation for our argument. But the fruit that is produced when someone wholeheartedly lives into a theology cannot be manipulated. It's just a result. The fruit doesn't lie. I was so happy when I put it all together. Because as someone who comes from a conservative Christian background and as a loving mother, I could see how easily it would have been, even if I became completely affirming, that without this, how easy it would be for voices to haunt me, to keep asking me, Liz, do you have it right? Are you sure you're not wrong? Are you sure you're not making a mistake? I mean, maybe you're interpreting this verse in the wrong way. Maybe you're misunderstanding. But these stories, this fruit, these words from Jesus, they give me peace. I'm not haunted. I am 100% confident in being wholeheartedly affirming of LGBTQ people. Sometimes people ask me if I have a study to prove my theory that non-affirming theology produces bad fruit and that affirming theology produces good fruit. I think there probably are studies out there, but I've never needed one because you know what I have? I have stories. I think stories are better than studies. This morning, I'm going to read you a story that a young gay man wrote. His name's Ben Moberg. He wrote this quite a few years ago. Ben grew up in a non-affirming home, in a non-affirming Christian community. I will add that today, Ben's mom is one of the fiercest mama bears out there. Her and her family are doing amazing work to support the LGBTQ community. Ben's journey, led them to become affirming, and they all have a wonderful relationship. So these words that he wrote were before that all came to pass. A lot of times what happens with LGBTQ people is first they have to affirm themselves before they can come out, and other people have a chance to do that. And that was kind of what happened with Ben's life. But I want to read this to you this morning because I think Ben gives us a good picture of what it's like when a person is embracing this non-affirming theology, contrasted with when a person embraces affirming theology for themselves. And let me just read these words to you and let them speak to you. This is what, excuse me. This is what Ben wrote. Maybe you heard it first at age 9 from the front row pew. Your pastor said, I'm sorry, y'all. Little allergy. Maybe you heard it first at age 9 from the front row pew. Your pastor said it in 10 seconds, and it felt like hell and hate hurling down upon you. Maybe you heard it in the car with James Dobson declaring to the nation and to your family that perverts like you don't get to have God. Maybe you heard it in everything that went unsaid. Maybe you opened the book and saw 6 or so verses with their crushing words, leaving your soul cracked wide open. Maybe you read them with a lump in your throat and tears running down your face and trembling hands. And maybe a part of you died. The message was received loud and clear. You cannot be known because you cannot be loved. You will not be welcomed. You will not be saved. You will lose everyone you care about. You will be thrown away. So you ran backwards. You receded down deep. You laid thick bricks all around you to keep everyone out. You believed it was all true, and you believed that hiding was your only protection. For me, for a long time, I believed those things too. I believed God could care less. I believed that the only way I would be loved and get my pardon from hell was to be straight. I believed that sometime long before memory, maybe when I was a toddler, I must have chosen to be gay because that's what the church people told me. They said this is merely a matter of choice. I believed it fully in my decaying heart until late one night at my lowest point, he told me something different. It was 1 a.m. and I was below the stars wrapped up in the backyard hammock. I was hyperventilating violently. Cries were choked out and breath was cut short, and I was past all hope. I asked him how his people, his followers, his body could be so cruel and tough and severe. Why are you like that? Why do they say you're on their side? Why am I even here? Why can't I be your child? Why won't you take me? I threw wild swings in the dark, imagining his face was right in front of me. I knew he was there. I believed it. But I was convinced he didn't care one bit about me. I was convinced he hated me, and I was past all hope. But in the middle of the madness, in the swinging and the cursing, a sudden seam was stitched. A bridge was built between my before and my after. A moment happened that changed everything for me forever. It came quietly like the first drops of rain, gentle and cool, and it was just 5 words, but they were the sweetest words ever spoken to me. I am not like them. I was struck and lulled and captivated all at once. I lost my breath and my arms fell limp to the grass below. I placed my hand over my heart. I squeezed my eyes shut. I listened to those words echo through my soul, reverberating over and over again and again until they matched the rhythm of my returning heartbeat. I am not like them. I am not like them. I am not like them. The great I am heard me. He saw me. He spoke to me. He came to me. The great I am is not like them. The cries and the moans didn't cease, but they came from a different place now, a source of pure joy and adoration and peace. And now I hang on to this memory with all I have because it's all I need. I am his love. I am his joy. He likes me and he loves me and he saved me. He reached out and he wrapped his big arms around me. It was like he had waited forever for this. He loves me and he loves you too, whether you believe it or not. It's true. And I believe more than anything, he wants you to know that God is not straight and God is not gay. He's above all the labels. He's only love. The head over heels, can't shut up about it kind of love. And he feels this for me and he feels this for you, and he's waiting, desperate for you to grasp it and then maybe to grasp him. See the difference, the sharp contrast. Hear how the non-affirming theology that Ben was embracing resulted in despair and sorrow and shame and self-loathing and separation from God, while the affirming theology brought about healing and restoration and reconciliation. Again, I want to make it clear, I did not become affirming in spite of my faith. I didn't throw my faith out the window. I didn't walk away from God. I didn't ignore Scripture. My Christian faith liberated me to be 100% wholeheartedly affirming of LGBTQ people. You'll often hear a parent say, I chose my child, meaning they chose their child over their faith. Listen, I'm always glad when you choose your child, but I'm here to tell you this morning, you don't have to choose between supporting and loving and affirming and celebrating your LGBTQ child and maintaining your Christian faith. They are not in conflict. There's no choice you have to make. You can do it all together because your Christian faith actually requires you, because the fruit doesn't lie. I was looking for answers. I went to the Bible. I didn't find them there initially. But as a woman of faith, I was driven back to Scripture. And I did find my answers there. And the answers I found was, you will know them by their fruits. The fruit doesn't lie. And God loves you. Thank you.
Woo! Liz, thank you so much for that. As a member of this community of GracePointe, but also as a gay man with a mama bear in North Carolina. She's actually watching right now. Vicky Brady, yes, she would love to be here. And Sara, thank you. All the mama bears, thank y'all so much for the work you do. It means a lot to us. So glad y'all are here. Jennifer's going to close us out with another song. And thank you, Jennifer, for being here.
Thank you for wearing that outfit. The only thing I have are like excited expletives for wearing camo and a pink cardigan, and I so wish I had that outfit. I don't know if that says more about you or me. I really actually wanted to just run down to Nordstrom's the other day and get a man's suit and just come up here in a suit and tie and hope I get ticketed for being a drag. So if anyone's a tailor, just give me a call. I'm looking for a nice tux to wear around everywhere in Tennessee. That's all to say. Hey, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Liz. All the things I want to say, all at once they wash away as you walk by, out of mind, my thoughts fly away, and all the things I long to hear, suddenly they reappear. You say in that hour, your holy power will wipe away my fears. I can hear you cry out loud when you answer me, oh. To know you are I am, a confidence of lion laying with the lamb in greener fields. Oh, with all my zeal, it's hard to comprehend. I can hear you cry. Hardly catch my breath. Seeing this, I wonder how you have any love. Left me not alone when I did not believe. Through the darkness, you answer me. Oh,
GracePointe, thank you so much for being here today, to everyone in person and online. If you could take a moment after the service to just help us with tables and chairs. There's tape on the floor to show you where the center of each table goes, and then chairs go around them. And I'll send you out with this benediction this week, that as you move on this earth and dance in this world, you get to function from approval and not for approval, because upon your creation, you were already pre-approved. Thanks, and have a great week.